Yeah, I like to like for me, a big part of doing a podcast and being any little bit successful at it starts with hitting record. So like we're off on the right foot.
Bro, it's so
Um
true. It's so true.
No, I don't do like, my podcast is young. I'm not doing big introductions or anything, but this is my guy, Noah. People, if you don't know Noah, you're going to know him by the end of this session. He is a dancer extraordinaire, a lifetime motivator. I, I reached out to him 2 days ago or a day ago, and I read something he posted on Instagram about his wife, and I immediately I had to connect and we had to have a conversation because we're seeing eye to eye and we haven't seen each other in a long time. So much for no introductions. I guess I just kind of gave you an introduction. That's how we got here. We go back somewhat. You and I kind of met in the days of when I was teaching boxing at Trinity and kind of in the circles of dancers and this and that. We just kind of all mingled and intermingled, and here we are. You moved away. You're doing epic shit. I want to know all about your family. I want to know all about what drives you, and I want to know all about the lives you're changing, because I read your Instagram posts and I feel changed within a moment, man. So what's going on?
I mean, shit, bro. There's a lot. Like I live out in Vegas now from LA. I don't dance professionally anymore. That is done.
What?
Yeah,
Bro, the dance world can't handle that loss, homie.
I know it's a sad, sad day. But like it just the industry kind of got weird. It changed all these things. And then I was like, I was at such an effect point to the industry. I was not cause. So I hated that. And especially having a new son. And I
Yeah.
was like, I can't sit there and just hope and pray that I get a job or the industry happens for me or I land this good gig or something. I was doing really good at insurance, union, all that shit with it. But then I was like, I'm not, life wasn't kind of happening. And then my wife went through like this postpartum thing and
Yes.
she really want like, that was it. Like she was like, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was gnarly because one of the posts she posted, she posted about her looking out this window and I was behind her looking at her, look out this window. And I knew it. I was like, she's done. Like,
Wow.
that's it. And I'm like, fuck. So I was like, let's go outside and play Frisbee. It was like I could do anything I could. Like I just did all this shit. Like, and then there's been all this like up and down. And then cut to me like and her just doing this massive like just mental health journey of
Yes.
figuring shit out, and then health for her because we found out that through a nutritionist that it was her gut that was messed up, which screws up your hormones, and mentally we're all screwed up because of the foods we eat. And it's like this massive line of like, I told you to eat healthy. You know what I mean? Like fucking your parents and shit.
Do you know what's so crazy? Just this week, like I've this new year, like really delved into mental health. I like to call it mental wealth and physical health
Yeah.
and the balance between the two. And something I was just reading this week was talking about how many ancient civilizations referred to the body as having two minds, two brains, and the first one being the gut, and how
Yes.
the gut affects the mind and your ability to make emotional, irrational decisions because you just don't feel right. And so it's so important what we're putting into our body. I've hopped on and I'm trying to help people through my Instagram reach or whatever. And I've been cold plunging every day since the beginning of the year, like starting my day with natural sunlight before coffee, getting in the cold water before coffee, then heating up through a workout and having coffee for 30 minutes, sauna afterwards. And I'm like, this is profound. I was just going to do like, dry January and I'll commit to this. I'll see if I could do 30 days. And it's life changing. My physical form is in the best shape it's been at 41 years old. I just went to get the blood work. My testosterone's up 250 points just from cold plunging. Zero supplements right now. Zero supplements. And so I'm anxious to make people believe that literally eating healthy, taking advantage of God's gifts, right? I don't know, sunlight, earth, putting your feet in the ground outside, doing some push-ups, things we can all do, we all have access to, and trying to show people the difference that it has in their life. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk about something you just mentioned that's wildly important to me. My son is about to be 9 in April. How old's your boy?
4.
4. So you're just behind me, but something you're very aware of is postpartum, which is not something many men truly understand.
They
It is
don't.
a real thing that many, many women struggle with. I'm not a woman. I don't want to speak out of line, but I would say most of the population deals with this postpartum depression after giving birth and after kind of birthing themselves into a mother. What was that experience like for you? How did you recognize what it was, and how did you guys navigate through it?
Dude, that's such a great point, and I wanna bring up, one thing before that. It's like, I think a lot of women have it, and then they don't want to admit that they have it,
Sure.
because when they have the baby, their whole lives have changed, and they don't want either what happened to the old me. So it's like a massive thing, and like you said, everything's in the gut, and
Yeah.
hormonally, men have testosterone, women have so many more things, and so it's a complete hormonal dump when the baby is born, and it's like this whole thing. So, um, that being said, I learned all this shit later on, but really what it was I was a fight. I fought with Claude, and Claude's my wife, in case anybody wants to know who the fuck is Claude. No, I was that bitch. No, but like we fought and we had a bad fight, and I slept on the couch. My doing. I was like, I'm gonna sleep on the couch. Fuck this
Sure.
shit. And the next morning, she was upset and goes, why did you sleep on the couch?" And I was like, "Fuck do you mean? Like, it's obvious why I slept on the couch. Like, you're crazy mad at me. I'm mad at you." She wasn't at all mad at me. She was sad that I wasn't with her. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?" And I was like, "Oh my God, she literally is over here in a completely different universe from what reality is." So every time I tried to communicate to her about reality, what was going on in present time at that moment, she was somewhere else. And I realized the danger in that. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to give up everything and play this game of reality that she's playing. And in that game, be there for her. Does that make sense? So if she says the house is on fire, I'm like, shit, we need to get water.
Right.
Even though full knowing there's no fire and everything's fine. But until she realizes that herself or says, oh, okay, we did a good job or something, then I don't even say the house wasn't ever on fire. That's how bad it was because hormonally and like you said, in the gut and like mentally, it's just nothing is really the way it is. And they are the way they are. And it's so fucked up beyond like when I hear people say, hey, when somebody wants to commit suicide, they should talk to somebody. Why? There's nothing you can say or do that will ever get somebody out of committing suicide.
Right.
Oh, there's nothing you can do. Their pain and their suffering is something you couldn't fathom, which is why they want to end it. Now, it is to be said a way out of that, but I took my wife and I was like, I'm doing everything I can. It was an Easter egg hunt. We drove to Arkansas twice with our newborn. Like I drove to take a rental car back all the way to Texas to fly back so that we could stay longer in Arkansas with her parents because the pandemic was like it was whatever needed to be done. I gave my life in service. Like
Why? Hold on. Let me stop you right there because this is the moment and you having that fight with your wife and sleeping on that couch because you had these thoughts and these assumptions are where most men make the turn away and can't have within them the courage to kind of show up and do what's necessary. Why are you able to do that so easily? Like you just talk, like I know you, Noah. Like I know you're a guy's guy. Like I know what you're about, and I struggle with many things, but like, a relationship is such a complicated thing, right? You feel a thing, she feels a thing, you assume she feels a thing, she assumes you feels a thing, shit gets diluted, everybody quits. Instead, you rose to the occasion and said, I'm going to do whatever I have to do, as if you were the greatest soldier in the world defending the greatest country in the world, except you're a single soldier and your country is your wife.
yep,
Why? How? Talk to me.
1000%. That was beautifully said. I knew that if I didn't, she would die. And that's where it was. And I was like, It's so hard to think about that moment, right?
I
But
know,
like,
I got chills up, right up my arms, man.
I'm like, it's just like, because it's so massive, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like, I didn't want my son growing up, and that's what I said in this recent post about like not knowing how wonderful this person is.
yeah,
I don't want to look at my son, who is beautiful. He's
yeah.
fucking beautiful. And and look at him. And he's so cool, bro. And he's not even that old at this time. I'm like, you're the coolest motherfucker I've ever met. And how am I going to tell you your mom did this? Or who she, not even she did this, that she was amazing. She was funny. You would have loved her. Fuck that. I was never going to say those words to him. He was going to grow up with a mother. I don't give a fuck if it took me out, he would know who she was. And I was like, fuck it. And it comes from like growing up the way I did and doing stuff and just being like, you either fucking die or you do something.
Did you learn these lessons from did you have good parents? Did you have a great upbringing? Did you have a David Goggins, Jocko Willink type figure in your life to help you? Then how? How do you
No,
become this?
no. So it's so weird. My mind works the way it works. And it was like, I didn't have that. My father was, look, everybody's a good person. Man is basically good, right? And they make decisions based on their lives and their trauma, and they think that this is the way to do it. I don't agree with the way my parents did things, and that's the nicest way I could say it, right?
Yeah,
Speak with them now. They have their own lives. And that's fine because that's the safety of my family. You know how it is. We fucking slit the
of
world's throat,
course.
right? So I just, dude, I remember when I was fucking little and I was like, I looked at my dad one time and I was like, this motherfucker is the shit. And he fucking turned on me about something in that moment. He was like, he didn't acknowledge that for me. I looked at him as a certain kind of man, and then he wasn't immediately. I was like, man, fuck. And I remember all the feelings I had growing up and how sad I was that I wanted a hero, that I wanted a father. Whether it wasn't there, they just kind of yelled or talked shit or whatever, narcissistic, this, that, and the other thing. And I was like, he'll never feel that. I would be goddamned if he ever felt the way I felt.
Yeah.
And I will do everything in my power to make sure he doesn't feel any of that shit. And if that means changing me, then that means changing me. I'm willing to ride the ride. That's all this shit is. You know what I mean? I'm willing to fight the fight. I'm not going to go out without a fight. You know, that whole fucking thing. I didn't even know what motivation was, bro, till like not too long ago. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, he was born 4 years ago. Okay. And my life has completely changed since then. And I didn't like, David Goggins, what, Jock? I was like, who? And I would think they're stupid. And if you listen to it, you were stupid. And this whole
Yeah.
health thing would be stupid. That's how I thought. But it was like, I was programmed that way. We all are. We're not programmed to be better. We're programmed to stand in line and to step in line the way we were told when we were growing up.
Let me ask you this. Are you grateful? You know, you spoke that you didn't agree with how your parents necessarily did things, and now they, have their own life and you have your own family. You're doing it the way you want to do it. Are you grateful for the lessons that you saw from your mom and dad, or just your dad, to teach you who you didn't want to be for your son?
Yeah. I'm grateful for everything that has ever happened to me, good or bad. I don't care if it's the worst thing that ever happened to me or the dumbest thing I ever did. I'm
All right,
super
hold on.
grateful.
Let me pause you right there then. Because, man, I knew this conversation would be firecrackers, bro. How Where does the gratitude come from? Did you always have gratitude for the challenge, for the fight, for the I can get better? Did you always have gratitude
Oh,
for this is what I've been dealt? Let me shift and change and figure it out. Did you
oh,
I teach my son, and it's a saying we've had since he's been 2 years old. It's one of the first sentences out of his mouth: an attitude of gratitude. We
love
don't
it.
play in this house. If you wake up feeling anything else but thankful, let's figure out how to be thankful. And I tell him daily, he's so committed to having an attitude of gratitude. He inspires me in my shit days to do better. He is raising me to be a
Yep.
better father.
Yes.
And
That's what they do.
where does that come from for you?
Not dying. Bro, I swear to God, like, cause like my whole life before this shit was just drinking girls and partying and whatever I could, and it was like, I had to learn how to, if I wanted to succeed at life, I had to learn how to be grateful. And somebody kind of yelled at to me, was like, if it was like a father yelling at a son, like, you better figure it the fuck out. Otherwise, you're never gonna get better and your life is gonna stay shit. And really what happens is we're all selfish. We all do things for us. We want to succeed, we want money, we want this. But that's not the attitude, like you said. The attitude is gratitude, where it's like, I'm so grateful that I get to do anything. That I get to wake up, that I get to have this thing. Like, my life wasn't that thing. And like, I don't know how else to explain it. This is where it started. I got a coach, and that coach told me, Noah, text 3 people. And I did this walk in the morning, and I did this. I text 3 people I was grateful for them. Do you know how weird it is to just text somebody out of the blue? Hey, I'm grateful for you. And you know how I did it? I would just walk and whatever person's name, and I'd be like, who? And then somebody would come up. Sometimes it'd be a chick from back in the day that was just like a friend. And I'd be like, gosh, this is gonna be fucking weird. So I was like, hey, I did this walk every morning, and I didn't matter what, I always sent the text, no matter how I felt, because the text wasn't, if I felt a certain way and didn't send it, the day would go bad.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? So like, if you're not, hey, thank you, like, you're really just taking from the world when we're here to give to the world. Like, you're amazing. I'm amazing. Everybody's amazing, but we're like diluted and neutered to the umpteenth degree. So I had to take me forcing myself to be grateful, to learn what it was like to really be grateful, and then expand on that, if that
And
makes sense.
how much of the gratitude now, and this is what I'm really experiencing heavy kind of in the last months of last year and early into this year, but how much of the gratitude do you feel because you're of service to others? You know, like you wake up and I don't even know exactly what you're doing. We'll get into that, but I see you reaching for people and sticking arms and hands out wherever you can. Do you feel that, like for me, waking up and thinking, how can I be of service to someone, my family, the people around me, the guy that's going to try to off himself later tonight, the girl that's been harassed by whatever, like I need to lend myself and anything I'm capable of to somebody else. And that's in turn, it makes me feel a little selfish because I'm like, it's like that's like my dopamine hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if I don't get in the cold water, get myself going, reach out and figure out how to connect with somebody, even if it's people I've never met before, I'm not living right. Like, do you
Yep.
feel that?
I'm It's different. I love what you said, because I've got something to say about that. And I understand why you feel selfish, because you're looking to be grateful to make yourself feel grateful.
Yeah.
And that's not the sauce. The sauce is to just sit there in a fucking chair in the middle of the world and just be grateful. And the things that you are looking for to be of service to, you can't look for them. They will be called to you because of you sitting there being grateful, if that makes sense.
It
So
does.
I've had to learn to love myself first, because I can't do fucking anything for anybody. If I can't love myself, I can't tell you anything good if I think anything bad of me. So that right there is massive. And then once I'm able to do that, I'm able to go, cool, I just love myself every day. And then somebody is like, somebody needs that. They need to love themselves. So then they see this guy's loving himself over here. I need that. Then they call me. They say, bro, this is how you love yourself. It's the shit. And then spread it. And that's it. Like, that's my job. I realized I've always been able to make people feel good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I've always been funny, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, I always like, I fucking love everybody. I really do.
Yeah, you
I
feel
don't,
that from you, and your energy is always that. Like, you are a guy like me that can easily intimidate or light up a smile. Like it can go either way, but you choose constantly to light up a fucking smile, man. I
I,
love that.
there's no other way. And then I'm just like, if I'm being intimidating, it's because I've got issues. You're very intimidating. If people really knew the physicality and the pain you could inflict on a normal human being, or somebody not normal still, you know what I mean? They would be like, what? I would never imagine that this gentleman right here could inflict that much pain on somebody. But the point of that is like, you know, I don't know. I think it's like learning and having the ability to understand both ends, loving yourself, taking care of yourself, and choosing to make the right decision every time, regardless of your ability. You know,
Yeah.
like you have a superpower, everybody does. And it's like you either go to the dark side or you go to the light side. You have both. You've chosen not to go dark. It's like, I think
On the dark days, like when it does feel dark, how have you been able to find that self-love? How have you been able to, and make sure you're taking care of this so you can take care of that?
I think it's kind of in what you do as well. It's what there's a lot of things out there like cold plunges, and I do them too, and I do them a lot less than I did before, but I just do them as a necessity thing now. But what do you need before you walk out that door of the world? Do you need to feel this way about yourself? Do you need to be strong? Do you need to be woken up by that? You need to feel a certain way that the sauna makes you feel. Like, what do you fucking need? And once you dial in by practicing how other people have figured it out, obviously, you go, okay, I've got this feeling. I know what this feels like. And at the end of the day, I know this: there's always going to be darkness, there's always going to be light. And we're a decision away. And I also like to do in the morning, I like to write, or during the day, so preferably as close as I can in the morning, is write, no, you're the shit. Like, you're a good fucking person. Like, and whatever I'm thinking, you're helping people, you're getting stronger, you're crushing it in the gym. Like, you really are doing everything you can. And it may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow, it may not happen in 6 months. But I promise you it's going to happen for you because that's who the fuck you are. And that may be one note I give myself that day. And I do that every day because I need to love myself so that I can, when the dark day comes, I'm ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? And I
Yeah.
guess that's why this took so long for me to get to, is because we train and train and train and train and train, even as fighters, as you know, for nothing to happen. Nothing ever happens except for one time or a couple of random times it does. And sometimes it's not even to you, it's to other people. You get to save them. And that's what it's for. And so the dark days are always inevitable, but how much can you just pump up your light so that when the dark comes, you're kosher. You can make it through. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it absolutely does. And just that phrase, pump up your light, I think we forget that we have a light inside us because times can get so dark, or we can assume, right? People constantly make assumptions, me included. We assume how somebody thinks about us, how we're perceived by a person, how we're perceived by a job, how we're perceived by a lover. We make all these assumptions and it can get dark, right? I'm naturally a depressed, I have depression like anybody else, but maybe a little bit more. So I really fight in those moments to not let it sit with me, but it does. It does still sit. And when I see guys like you, and you're doing what you're doing so consistently and so constantly, I'm like, I have to be in a conversation with him so I can understand how to illuminate my light a little more. And
Yeah.
that's, as soon you posted this thing on Instagram and you said it was about men having purpose. And it was something that, Mandy and I, we've been married nearly 20 years. I have a 9-year-old son. I love her. She is the reason I'm alive. I don't know that I would be on this planet if it wasn't for her.
Yep.
I lived wild and loose. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, just
You.
I wasn't scared to slide out sideways on the edge of a canyon and see how close I could get to the, falling off. Like, I was always that person. And I read this thing that you posted that was about a man having purpose, and when he doesn't find his purpose, he creates problems in his marriage. And I feel like I'm that to my wife sometimes. And I was like, I got to talk to Noah immediately. I got to talk to Noah immediately. Like, that's it. And
Yeah.
now here we are. But I see so much of myself in you. Like, when I've always seen you and I've reached out to you randomly, and we don't talk every day. Obviously, when we do, it's like this. It's no problem. It feels like we
Anytime.
talk every day, but I
Yeah.
call you and I'm like, hey, my sister wants to come dancing. Boom. Noah's there in a second. Hey, Noah, I need to fill out positions in my boxing class. Boom. Noah's there in a second, showing off his 6-pack, making the rest of us look like shit, but we'll take it. We'll take it. Cause I'm building you up forever. And when I saw that Instagram post, it just I had to get in contact with you. Where does that stuff come from, man? Your wisdom has jumped ahead so many levels that I want to learn from the professor, you know? Like that's just where it's at.
Well, so I'll put this in a good way because you're asking and I want to help, not just for like other people listening. I want to personally help. So you know when you're boxing, right? And you make a mistake. What happens? You get hit, right?
Yeah.
You get hit enough, you figure out where the mistake is coming from and you never make it again. And then eventually you become good at your boxing.
Yeah.
Okay. I am Captain Motherfucking Mistake. Okay. So let's just put that out there. I have made every single mistake and then sometimes times five or whatever. Right. So, but when you realize, especially in martial arts, and this is why I bring this up because, you know, I'm more jujitsu now, and it's like, that's just showing you what you need to work on. Like it's not wrong to make a mistake. It's saying this is the thing I need to work on. And that's the thing that's in front of your face. And the reason why it's happening to you is because it's the next level for you. And the next level is hard because we've never been to that level. We have no idea what it is, how to handle it, or do anything about it. So it makes us fucking crazy. And then we think we're crazy. No, we're not. We just hit a wall that we don't know how to fucking bypass. And that's it. And so the mistakes that I made created that. Now, that being said, bad mistakes in my marriage where I blamed her for so much shit. And I was like, she doesn't love me. She's not giving me the affection I need, this, that, and the other thing. And so I kind of stayed away from her. And like, until every time I really tried to dig in and fix it, I realized it's my fucking fault. And it was a problem that I had with me and who I was. And so as a man, we don't talk to people or try to figure it out. And then, so we keep on going with this fucking problem. But once again, like from the same thing with her and postpartum and stuff like that, like I'm just going to find out or I'm going to die because I'm not going to not succeed, dude. I don't care how long it takes me. This relationship is always going to succeed. That's it. So I will choose her over every emotion and feeling and everything. I'll be like, okay, what's the best for her in the relationship? And that's what we're supposed to do. And the reason why we worry and depress and stuff like that is because we're supposed to. Think about it. We're only supposed to, not in a negative way, in a positive way, to understand what that feels like so that we know that when we're not doing our job, when we are as men. Right? So if I'm worried about something and I'm depressed about the situation, cool. I know I'm not doing my job as capable as I am because you're a capable motherfucker. And even if this is what the shittiest part is, if I said, excuse me, I'm going to take the trash out and I don't, we don't think about that shit. Oh, I'm going to do this for her and I don't. No, she didn't know about it, so it's no big deal. I'm still creating promises, broken promises in my mind, and that takes me away from me.
Mm.
And it's fucking weird because one day I really realized that. I was like, yeah, I am going to work. I am doing this thing. Where am I slacking? I'm like, cool. Well, I know I should be doing this and I'm not. Fine. I'll go do it. And then bam. Everything is light at that moment. So realizing the understanding that what a mistake is and that it's okay as long as you do something about it, and then confronting it and saying, where am I lacking? Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for yourself if nobody's around and you have those feelings.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, she doesn't have those feelings about you, and people don't. But when I started to like who the fuck I was, I could stand out. And it's so funny that you asked this question. I told my wife this this morning. I could stand in front of the biggest billionaire and this, that. I wouldn't give a fuck, but I would stand taller than that motherfucker because I'm okay with me. And that's the best feeling in the world. You can do anything after that. Nothing's depressing after that. That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Everything is easy to do in this world. Working out, eating right, all these things we talk about, it's all easy. What's hard is getting out of your own fucking way.
Yeah. And talking to you, sitting in this moment, I believe you're the tallest man I know. And I know what your height is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Average height male.
yeah. But I have belief in you and what you're saying, and it's extraordinary to hear it so eloquently out of a guy that is so similar to me or I
Yeah.
understand your upbringing and I understand your I understand your two sides, I should say, right? Like I know your capabilities negative or capabilities positive, and every day I'm like enlightened by watching what you're doing. Um, it's extraordinary, man. And these, like you said, it's so men aren't doing the work to do this. They're not sitting down with each other and talking it out and figuring it out. And another guy, you know, I people are often they'll say like, you know, how did he end up like that? And I always say the same thing. I go, because he didn't have any good friends. He didn't have anybody to go, hey man, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? That's not how you should view the world or treat people. He just went on being that guy and nobody ever intervened and said anything to him. These conversations, I've grown more from however long we've been talking, 20, 30 minutes with you, than I have with years of therapy that I've done in the past and things like that, because you're not talking at me. You're
Right.
talking to me. You
Yeah.
know my weaknesses and you know my strengths, and the thing you're saying they're resonating so deeply with me because it's just that simple. It takes a person to look you in the face and say, adjust your mistake and rise up from it. Let's love ourselves so we can love everybody. Let's fix our mistakes so we can rise up and help all those, be of service to those around us. And I just need to hear it, man. I just love this conversation.
Fuck yeah.
It's
Hell yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we're all here to help everybody. If you look at it, clothing, food, any kind of industry that anybody makes money off of, it's help.
Yeah.
Think about it. Sometimes people use that help for bad. Well, if I want to deck out my motorcycle, I need help with that. Some guy makes a part. Thanks for helping me, bro. I can't wait to pay you for you being the guy that was able to help me, because without you, I couldn't have this cool bar set up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
I couldn't do it
Absolutely.
without you. Why the fuck would I not pay you, or why would I not be happy? You know, like I
Yeah.
don't, whereas in before, I'd be like, take, which a lot of people do, and they do it out of fear and insecurity. So,
I was listening to John. I don't know if you listen to Real One's podcast, John Bernthal. He's pretty rad. He's like an actor dude, but he's got a real side of him. And he talks to some real legit ex-military, ex-cops, cons. And he had Shia LaBeouf on, of all people, right? And, Shia's had this
oh, that
I get
actor, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I
oh,
guess
yeah.
Shia's had this like roller coaster of a Hollywood career, or so the media says, right? And how much can we trust the media or entertainment news? You don't really know what you're seeing. But John Bernthal asked him, and he said, it was something about the purpose of life. And Shia said, he said, man, the purpose of life is to figure out what you're good at and then figure out how to help people with that. And I was like, I'm gonna just sit here silent for a second and think about that, because that is exactly who I am on my inside, and I haven't let that on my outside enough. Even though I've done that within smaller circles of my friends, I needed to expand that. How did that happen for you? Like your ride right now is I mean, it is just exactly that. You are really good at what you're doing and you're really helping people. I'm assuming because you're helping me and we haven't even talked until today. So, how did that, like, other than your wife and that moment, right? And that moment is enough to stop me in my tracks and feel like I was standing behind her, looking at her look out that window. Other than that moment, was there something else that you decided, this is my purpose, this is what I'm here to do, and I'm going to do it on the highest level?
It was the hardest thing for me to find out what was I supposed to do,
Yeah.
because the worst part about it is I'm so good at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
not a lie. Like I'll go fucking fly fishing right now, and you'd be like, "Have you done this before?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm really good at it, aren't I?" You know, like it's I don't know what that is. So for me, I was like, "Fuck, I'm good at everything." But it was like, what have I fucking really done? Like, what has my life entailed? What have I done the whole time? Chicks. Like, my life has revolved around women. I have 4 sisters, right? I always got along with women. I like women. You know what I mean? Like it's I've been hurt by them. I've done this. I've tried that. And then I was like, fuck, man. Like, and then I tried to I tried to figure it out. I'm like, what is a man's job? Why are we here? And I realized that I'm really good at helping. I really want to help people. I want to do it for free, right? That's how it feels. And I want like you to succeed in like the best ways that like you can being a man. And what is that? And it's a relationship, like in my mind. So like it took me forever to try to figure something out. And I was like, what is my life? What has controlled my life? What have I had some serious hardship in? And then I've survived that hardship. So now it's my job to tell other motherfuckers how to do that.
Mm.
Does that kind of make sense? And it's
Yeah.
like, and it's really weird because the only way to find it's like one of those movies where it's like, what superpower do you have? And then you got to do all this training. And then all of a sudden one day you're like, when you fucking fly, you're like, I can fly. That's my fucking shit. Right. Like, it's like that, where if we're in our own way, we'll never be able to figure out what we're good at. Right. Like you've been this guy for your whole life through good and bad, the same dude. If you look at it, who is that guy? What has he done? Right.
Yeah.
What has motivated him, hurt him, helped him? How has he overcome all that? And how, and you know what I mean? Like that's the essence of you. And that thing you've spent your whole life fucking with, and Joe Blow over here hasn't. So he needs you to live out that purpose so he doesn't have to live out that pain.
Oh, yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And like, and this is another thing was like, I did things, I found out negatively what I was doing to myself and turned it into a positive. Whereas I didn't want to do things, be successful or anything like that because I felt bad for people. If I rolled up in a Ferrari, that guy was like, oh, I can't afford that. I fucking hated that.
Yeah.
I didn't roll up in a Ferrari because I didn't want him to have that thought about himself. That's selfish. I should go up to him, get out the Ferrari and go, you can, motherfucker. Call me. I'll help you do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's your
Yes.
fucking purpose. Like to take what you're afraid of, this thing that's been controlling you, that you've been withstanding and surviving your whole life, and go, wow, I'm really good at this thing. Flip it. Help other motherfuckers with it. And that, you know what I mean? I made this fucking sweater that said anti-side chick husbands
You
club.
know, I have one. I wear it every day to the gym. It's sad that I don't have it on right now because I probably wore it in the sauna this morning and it's all nasty. I wear it all the time. And people ask me, and I'm like,
Think about it.
what don't you understand? I'm advertising my loyalty to my companion. I'm telling you what I'm here and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it right here. That's it. There's so many young fellas and old fellas out there that are like, oh, I got a mistress and a wife and a side chick and a this. And I go, do any of them feel good? Do you feel good? Do any of them love? Like, it's nothing real. You got to be anti side chick. I'm focused on my queen, on the woman that I watched rebirth herself into a new human being when they had a baby. Like
Like,
there's
fuck.
no more powerful thing than watching a woman become a mother. And shout out to all the women that did it in their whatever way you became a mother. It is still a mother. And when you commit and when you see, like when I saw my wife go from my girl to a mother, I was like, I'll never do anything in my life as great as that, except protect that and keep it in the best, shiniest possible way. And now, 8.5 years in, my son is thriving. My wife is thrived as a mother. She's grown in ways. And I am sitting here going, these two people are raising me up from what they've done. And it's magic, man. Like it's a true superhero of a human being is watching a mother do it, get by it, and then thrive, man. I know you know because you're right in the journey, you know?
But that's the thing. Like, why wouldn't you think that that's not your purpose?
That's a good question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you have to be worthy of that yourself. No one's going to tell you you're, hey, fucking knight, you're worthy. Go.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? People back in the day, tribes and stuff, you weren't worthy. You couldn't have a family if you couldn't eat, couldn't have kids. if you're the dad or the men couldn't hunt. Like there's a thing, right? And it's so easy to go get food and do stuff right now that the general man or women has become lazy in understanding that. I realized that it was my fucking job to look other men in the face and be like, stop being such a bitch when it comes to your fucking woman. I would sit there at a barbershop and all these guys would be talking shit about their chick. And I'd sit there like, I'm not joining in this motherfucker. My wife is hot. I got no issues. And you guys are some fucking petty motherfuckers if you're going to sit there and then look at your wife in the face. And especially if she's the mother of your child, you're a bitch. Like, how low can you be of a man? Because that is like fucking motorcycle. That is like so the opposite of your job. Do you see?
Yeah.
Our job is to be men. And whatever way that facilitates our life, whatever purpose that is for you, what that means for you, it's your job to be a man. But like one guy's job could be super buff and I protect the world and this, that, and the other thing. Cool. That's your job. Like it could be mine to do mine. It could be yours to do whatever it is, but it solely comes from us taking our identity and our role back and being like, this is what we do and saying it's okay. Because back in the day, like if you watch any of those movies, like, fuck, what was it? Thor.
Yeah.
Remember fucking Thor? Remember when, not Thor, sorry, but fucking Thor. Oh my God. With Achilles, help me.
Troy.
Troy, fuck. I knew it was a T, right? I had a T, 4-letter fucking word. No, yeah, 5, whatever. So point is like, I remember the Spanish guy, the general, the first one, not Achilles, not them, the other guy.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yeah, I
Whatever
remember the character.
he was Greek, whatever the fuck. I'm so bad at history, just so we're fucking
I
clear.
am too. It's not the point. Tell me the damn
Point
story.
is even in, how about this? Let's go better. 300. Before he kicked that fucking guy in the goddamn well, he looked at his wife. Didn't say shit. She was like, kick that motherfucker. She didn't say it. He was like, done. The world is on fire. Fuck it. That's a real man. That's a real king to be able to look at the wife, be so good at your job that the wife goes, I'm going to be strong myself. And then she's so strong that you trust her. And this fucking circle goes on. Nobody can fuck with you guys. It's your purpose to be that. However that is, if it's through acting, if it's through this, that, and the other fucking entity. There's so many in this world. But
Yeah.
it could be through doing this podcast.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's my intent with, starting this podcast was my son was like, he saw a YouTube channel and he was like, Dad, we should do a podcast. I said, we'll call it MC on the mic. It could be Matt Cohen, Mandy Cohen, and Macklin Cohen. We could bring in whoever. And so it was just started me and him talking. And then it's unraveled over the last like 2 years into something that I have to do. I need to do. I need to reconnect with some of the most influential people in my life and where they are and what they're doing and how they're helping. And I don't make a dollar from my podcast. I don't have any sponsors. We haven't even put out a lot of ads or anything yet, but what it's doing is filling me up. And in turn, I'm able to fill up so many other people that I come in contact with, whether it be my son or my family. Like I'm going to leave this room today, like, forgive me for making a drug metaphor, but like I just did all the drugs in the world. I'm hopped up, dog. I could jump through this camera right now just to give you a hug. Like that is what people need. I've been saying it a lot lately. Humanity needs some humanity. Like we forgot to reach out. Everybody's, taking their tribal side and thinking they're fighting, these other people. Like your enemies aren't eye level, right? That's what Martin, I don't know if you remember Martin, the guy that I opened a boxing gym with. He goes, hey man, your enemies, they're not eye level. I'm not fighting you, Noah. Like you're not fighting me. Like if something happens in my life, you'll show up, you'll text, something will end up happening. Who's not going to text you when your life falls apart? The politician you voted for, the Dem or Repub that you're fighting for and wearing their, clothes and this and that. They're not sending you a card when your life gets hard. They're not going to text you or tweet you or say hashtag it's okay. Like nobody gives a shit. So let's invest in our community and having a sense of community. And I mean this especially amongst men this day and age. there's a lack of a sense of community, which creates weak individuals. And when you realize that, like, there's other dudes fighting the fight and showing up to try to help you learn how to fight the fight, well, what else do you need? Put your hand out, open your palm, and go, all right, high five me, let's do it. And there's not I'm looking to put together a better sense of community in my life, people around me's life, and I want to teach people how to do that. And it starts with a conversation, man. I mean, me and you sitting here and chopping it up today is got to be one of the most fulfilling, talks that I've had in a long time, and necessary. A guy that I can go in and out of feeling one way today and one way tomorrow. I need to depend on knowing there's people like you out in the world doing the good work.
Yeah, and that's like that whole saying that is, and I had to look it up just to make sure I didn't fuck it up. It was hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, right? So
Yep.
hard times create strong men. This is hard times. And what's happening? Men are coming out of the woodwork being like, fuck that, right?
Yep.
But if we don't do what we're supposed to do as men and show it, nobody's going to see it. And it's going to take that guy that's sitting on the couch to see it and go, oh, I can do it too.
Yeah.
That's the thing that even wraps this up into like a big circle of what we talked about at the beginning is like, you have to do stuff for other people so that they can do stuff for themselves, so that they can do stuff for other people, so they can do stuff for themselves, so they can do stuff for other people. You know what I mean?
It's perfect. It's
Yeah,
perfect. As repetitive as that can get, because we can go on and on and on.
I stopped.
It's perfect. It is exactly that. Like, got to love yourself first. That lends itself to loving somebody else. That person learns to love themselves. They love somebody else, so on and so forth. Um, I don't want to shift completely away from stuff, but we've been talking like almost an hour already. I knew this shit would happen. This would
I know.
this
I
could
was like,
easily
I don't
go
care.
hours. Cause
Yeah.
I love everything. But before, I gotta run off and do something in like 10 minutes. And I want to talk about real quick our kids. Um, what is it like watching your wife be a mom and the fun shit that she's teaching your kid and you guys get to do as a family? Like, cause we were in each other's lives. Like we kind of had relationships, but it was like pre us being fathers, pre us trying to support mothers and be there for them. What's it like, man? Like I mean, to me, it's all that I am. It's my most proudest thing is being able to have them love me at the end of the day, no matter how stupid and shitty I can get or not get, or what I do or don't do. They are my thing. How is it for you, man? I know you seem like the golden goose of family men, even though from outside, right? People might not think that about you, but I know how deep your empathy and your compassion and your rage and your fierceness. I know the levels of Noah. And what's it like, man?
That's like you said it. It's the best thing you could ever do. And it's funny, like, I want to bring this up too. I talked to a friend of mine, his dad passed away, and his dad, he was like, he was my hero. And I go, you know what you don't hear anymore? That your dad is your hero. Like, that's an epic dad,
Yeah.
right? If you're your son's fucking hero, you are just, you are it,
Yeah.
and like to feel like that, because I know I'm my son's hero, but like, I earned that. I
Yeah.
earned that day. And it's the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I'll never not want to do it. Like, I love watching Claude with him. I love watching him. I love watching us. I'm like, this fulfills, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my job. Like, I'm supposed to do this. I tell people all the time, if I could get paid for this, fuck, dude, that would be the shit. Like, I would, not that I want to be like open the daycare thing, but like my own family. Like,
Yeah, listen, maybe it's like I could see something in your future, like some version of a modernized attitude of gratitude Boy Scouts. It's called the Dude Club or something for little dude scouts figuring it out. Like I know it sounds ridiculous, but I think this country, specifically this country, is in a time of we need to reframe things. We need to refocus on what we're focusing on and not just, hey, parent goes to work, sends kid to school. That's it. They meet for dinner. They go to bed. They wake up. They do it again. We need to level up everybody together. So, I mean, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if you opened the biggest life-changing, kid society, kid movement involving dads, building up moms, championing them all to do their job better. Because if anybody can do it, it's you, man. And I'm certain of that. So, dude,
I mean,
onward and upwards as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned.
And you know what's cool about what you said? It's just like that. Like, if that's my purpose, if that's my job, if I'm supposed to do that, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It'll happen. I won't force it. I won't sit there and go, that's a great idea, I'm going to go do that. Like, no, I'm here to fucking serve. That's it. And if that comes my way, I'm gonna crush it.
Yeah. I feel that
Doesn't
in you.
fuck it.
You have such an ease about what you're saying to me in this conversation that every word of it is authentic. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't look at you and be like, "Oh man, he really prepped to talk to me today." Cuz I do zero. When I go into a podcast, I am just here to talk to you about a thought that I had about you, and wherever this shit goes from there, I don't care. But I'm not doing research. I don't I'm having a man-to-man conversation,
Yeah.
whether we triumph or it becomes defeat, whatever it is, we're going to have that conversation. And most of them turn out like this, which is a damn beautiful thing. Um,
100% same. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm so glad you texted me because I was busy doing like programming for clients and their
yeah,
food. And I was deep, bro.
yeah,
And then I was like, fuck, that's right. Once 1 o'clock. I was like, I had fucking rush out here, do this shit. So like, I am definitely not prepared. I didn't even care. I was just excited to spend time and like hang out and talk to you. Like, I see you doing your stuff and it's just cool. And I'm like, I look back. In fact, I think I still, like on Facebook, I still have that picture we took in Trinity, all of
yeah,
us. Still
yeah,
have that fucking shit on my Facebook from back in the day. And I looked at it the other day and I was like, it's just so dope, So I'm like so happy, like you with your son, your wife, and like, that's why I don't know. Just it's cool from what we were to what we are and how we feel, and that's like, bro, you gotta give yourself credit for that shit. And you know what I mean? Like, we don't give ourselves credit for anything. Like, you did that. I did that. Like, we are not dead. We're not in jail. We don't have some weird baby mama drama,
yeah.
right? We're not on drugs. We don't have alcohol problems. Like, we're trying to help people. Pretty fucking sure.
Win. So why do we feel anything else? Because we're not taking the time to love ourselves, which takes us right back to the beginning of this conversation. And I think if anybody takes anything away from this conversation at all, let's find a way to love ourselves. Because if you're not living right, you're not doing something right, and you're not going to be able to help the people around you in the right way. So it starts there, man. And this is a in your face Noah V reminder right here to like, let's love ourselves so we can help everybody else love themselves and move it forward. And I
Yeah.
mean, it's perfect, dude. This is a perfect button to the end of this moment. And I think we should do this again whenever you have time. Like, if you text me any day and I'm around, we hop on a podcast. If you got something to say, if you're feeling hot, if you're feeling this, if you're feeling whatever, let's get it out and get it to the people if you want. I forget because I'm bad at this. How do people find you? If they're looking for a guy like you to contact you, I'm your homie. So you answered my text. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank your wife. Kiss your baby for me. I haven't met him. And kiss everybody, man. Kiss your wife on the mouth for me, Noah.
I'll get her done for you, Matt.
And tell the people how to find you, if it's Instagram or
um,
Facebook or whatever.
I like Instagram a lot at Noah Poppy, NOAHPAPI. In case for the non-Spanish people, that's daddy. I couldn't change it from back in the day. Everybody fucking loves it. So it's Noah Poppy. It's never gonna fucking change. I have a fitness program myself, nutrition, fitness, workouts, and motivational and mindset coaching. I have that program. I have all sorts of stuff involved with that. So that's my thing now. That's what I do. So anytime I get to do this is great. And anytime you have a question, let's do this instead.
we're doing this. I mean,
'Cause I actually
it's
bought a tape recorder on fucking Amazon, because when I start talking, I say some shit, I'm like, "Fuck, that was gangster," and I have
yeah.
it's gone. It's in the
No,
ether.
no, I mean, we literally had like 15 t-shirts of like really good quotable content in this
Yes.
thing, and I don't remember what it is, so I'll have to watch it back on YouTube. Anybody that wants to find Noah, you can, if you can't find him or if you don't see this link, reach out to me. I'll send you his way. I'll put this episode will be up on YouTube in the next hour or day at the latest, and will be up on Spotify in the same amount of time. You're doing good work, and I appreciate you, and you make me feel like loving myself a little bit more, and I know that's going to benefit my family in a huge way. So I just, from the bottom of my guts, thank you, man. Thank you for this conversation. This was needed. It was necessary, and I feel better. I feel better
Good,
today.
good. It's just I fucking love it. I'll do this all day.
That's it. All right, people. This is MC on the mic. We're out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.